My girls.
Hi.
Yes.
It's like a homecoming on Emily's behalf, and I love that. And I think she would love that too, to see all these faces.
Yeah, so happy that Paul would come in and sit with us. And then we have, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of you are coming in from out of town. You're in Atlanta now.
Yes, I just got off the plane.
Wow.
Maybe
and you rushed right over, and I said, you get him on these blue couches. What are you doing? Where are you?
I'm in Atlanta, and as soon as I heard the news, I said it was a no-brainer. And I say this all the time. You are my family. You know, the four of you, Amanda, Kara, Eva, and Emily, were just like my news aunties, my news sisters, my news moms.
This was your first job,
my
right?
first job.
Yeah.
And so I am getting, the experience as a new reporter. And who do I call? For anything, for context. If I am hungry and I need some food, or I need, you know what I mean? Or I need advice. Amanda, we sat in that booth and we went over my stories.
A lot of times,
every night.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Emily was one of those people. And so how could I not be here?
Yeah. There is something about your first job, especially your first job in TV. You remember those people that lifted you up. And that is something that Emily was so good at, making sure that these young reporters that come in knew what they were doing. She set you straight, but she was so willing to help.
Yeah, if you were willing to learn.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you were, then she just was so excited to work with you.
And a lot of times I would sit there and I'm like, how is Emily getting the lead story every day?
Because she was good.
She was good.
She was good.
And that is something that just always stuck out to me. And I always just wrote down, like, how is Emily able to cultivate these contacts? I've really studied her because she was just a great example in the newsroom of what it took to be a journalist, really a staple in our community.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, to be in a double box with her. One story I did, it was a horrible story. It was a mass shooting that happened. And I just felt so honored to be able to tell that story in a double box next to her. We did team coverage. And it was one of my last stories here in Erie back in 2016. And I just remember I put it on my resume tape, and I just felt so proud to be next to her and to just to be led by her in that moment. It was just one of those stories that we talked about for weeks.
Yeah.
And just getting coached by her, it was just an honor.
She was also really fun,
Oh.
we keep talking about.
Oh my God. She was the first anchor that I met on set. When Pam, our former GM, general manager, she brought me in to interview me, and Emily, it might have been like 11:45 or like 11:50, right before the noon newscast, and Emily is rushing in. She has a mouthful of Listerine.
Yes,
Yes, she did.
That's a memory I haven't heard this
That's
week.
true, though.
Yes.
Yes, always. You're right.
She is like swishing her mouth with
Miss
Listerine.
Salen's laughing over there. We had all
And I'm
forgotten
like-
about that, but it's so true.
What is wrong with her? And so I had to ask her what was in her mouth, and she said, "Oh, it's Listerine. Just give me a second." And she always told us, like, before you hit the news desk, she always likes to have fresh breath.
Yes, who doesn't?
And I just had a piece of gum, and it always
Thank you.
stuck out with me.
Well, listen, the funny
hilarious.
thing about the Listerine is that now I have something in the bathroom. I have mouthwash,
you do.
but it's in the bathroom. And you go in the bathroom and you swish it. But no, hers is at her desk.
At her desk.
And you're right. And she's the only person I've ever known
For like
that has
5
taken care of that in the newsroom at her desk.
You're right.
Listerine, like, that's what I think.
That is a memory I have
Thank you
not
for
heard
bringing
this
something
week.
in,
Yes,
a
I
new
love
gem,
the
a
Don't you
Listerine
remember that?
memory.
Man, that is so funny. And so it carried me through my jobs. And I was an anchor in Springfield for 3 years during COVID, and I always had like a breath mint or Listerine nearby or gum, because I always think like Emily
Go in
always
there
had
with
fresh
To
breath.
have that fresh breath.
How funny.
And my co-anchors thanked me for it.
I'm sure they
I'm
do.
sure they
So thank
did.
you.
You know, as you move forward in your career, what kind of Emilyisms are you going to take along with you to continue on as you grow?
Yeah, you know what? Just leading with compassion. You know, Emily really dealt with some tough stories, probably the toughest, throughout the day. And she always led with compassion, with people. And I was watching yesterday, and they trusted her. A lot of the officials and a lot of, police and fire, they trusted her because they knew that Emily would handle it with care.
Yeah.
And that's something that's always, walk with me. You have to handle these stories with care, and that's how you gain people's trust.
Yeah, and you know, she was so easy to watch. She made it look easy, and I think John was talking about that yesterday when he was first watching some live shots with her. She just made it look so easy, and so it was fun.
I love listening to her voice too. I find myself to be quite often a viewer. I'll record this show and then I'll sit back and I'll watch it as a viewer later. And I always loved listening to her tell me the news of the day, the news of the evening. She had a great way to present it in a way that was compassionate but factful. And
it just felt it felt good listening to her. I never felt like I never felt like Emily was telling a lie. And, you know, it just was always like good to hear from authentic, and it felt good listening to her voice, like you said.
I would be in the green room getting ready for the 4, and she would be finishing Guam, but she would often track stories, you know, lay the sound under. I remember her coming out one day, and I'm like, I love your track. It sounds so good. It's just it's natural.
She quite often would say she loved her grandma, and her grandma always watched her, especially when she was doing the 12:30 newscast. And so she was always very careful. She'd say, what would grandma wouldn't like that. If I said it this way, grandma wouldn't like that, and I'm going to hear it.
That's a part of being an anchor in your hometown. That can.
In the back of her mind.
Well, she would always share things her mom would say. You know, oh, the right side of your hair is not looking right.
Yes.
Or, you know, her mom would text her in the middle of the show, I'm not sure if I like the eyeshadow today. And Emily was like, I'm in the middle of a show, you know.
But something else that stuck out to me too is she was very inquisitive. She always asked questions. She always wanted to know what was going on in my world. For example, like I remember Beyonce came out with a song, and she said, I have hot sauce in my bag, and Emily wanted to know what that was about. Like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
And I had to explain to her, like, you know, sometimes food isn't seasoned, so you have hot sauce in your bag, and so that's why Beyonce was saying it.
It's literal.
So just those funny kind of authentic moments. Emily didn't know everything, but she was always willing to learn and more about me and my culture.
Well, whether it's hot sauce in your bag or Listerine at your desk, just do it, right?
Just do it.
Love it.
Yes, yeah. She was so awesome, and I'll miss her.
She was so fun.
Us too.
We all will.
We love you, Justin.
I
Thank
love
you so
you.
much for stopping in.
I
We're
love
so
you
glad
guys.
you're here.
Yeah.
Not under these circumstances, but
know.
it's been so good to share these memories with you.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to be here, and I'll be here all weekend, just sharing those memories and moments and hugging you guys as much as I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need it. Thanks,
Yeah, we
Justin.
Yeah.